All right, back with another mock draft reaction. We're going with Daniel Jeremiah, one of the key guys on NFL.com, as he posts a ton of mock draft content and just draft content in general. Make sure that you check out Daniel Jeremiah's stuff if you haven't already on NFL.com. I believe he also does the draft on NFL Network. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. This is his mock draft, and what my reaction to it would be. So, it should be interesting. I believe this is a what he believes will happen, not a what he would do personally. But yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so we've seen definitely some debate at number 2. Caleb Williams number 1. Yeah, that's always going to happen. We've seen some debate at number 2. He still says Drake May is the pick, which I think I agree with. I know I've seen a lot of Daniel's hype. It could go either way. I really do think it could go either way. I think I'm with Jeremiah. I think this is going to happen. And then Daniel's going at number 3. I also agree. I think that the top 3 picks will be quarterbacks. There could be a trade down. I just don't know if that's happening. So this is interesting. So the Vikings trade up to 4 with the Cardinals for J.J. McCarthy. So again, the Vikings, what are the Vikings doing is one of the real questions heading into this draft. They got extra first round pick. So a lot of people are wondering, are they going to use that to trade up? Jeremiah says yes, trade up for J.J. McCarthy, which, hey, if you're not giving up future assets, I don't really mind trading up for a quarterback. I think giving up future first is often not a good idea because it's really hard to predict which quarterback is going to be great. And even if you love Bryce Young, you trade a future first and then you miss out on Caleb Williams, right? But, for this value, I wouldn't hate it. The Cardinals, though, do they want to miss out on one of the elite wide receivers? That's kind of the question. Well, we'll see what they do with their later picks. Number 5, so the Jets. Interesting. So Jets trade up. So I've done this in a mock draft of my own. I thought I was original and the first one to do it. Apparently not. Yeah, this would make sense. For Jets, they can give up future assets because they're trying to compete right now, and the Chargers are in a rebuild. So to me, this just makes sense. The Jets and Chargers trading up here. Now, I don't know if Harrison's still available. It especially makes sense if he's still available. Although maybe if he's available, if you're the Chargers, you just say, let's just take the generational wide receiver talent. And a Neighbors going at 6 to the Giants. I think Giants fans would be very happy if this is how things, fell to them. Let's go a few spots now. So Joe Alt to the Titans. I feel like every mock draft has that. Dallas Turner to the Falcons, another one that pretty much every mock draft has. Rome Odunze to the Bears, though. If he does fall, because that is interesting, right? If the Cardinals trade back, or if just one of those teams doesn't go wide receiver out of 4, 5, 6. There is the potential of Odunze falling to the Bears, which I think they would feel great about. Number 10, so the Chargers get an offensive lineman, so they do not go with Joe Alt, because they traded back. They end up with an offensive lineman, which if you want to go offensive line here, that's probably the way to do it. Again, I do wonder if Chargers fans would be a little bummed out, though, of missing out on Marvin Harrison Jr., even if they understand the logic. It'd just be fun to have Marvin Harrison Jr. Number 11, Jared Verse to the Cardinals. Okay, this is interesting. So again, Cardinals do have a lot of needs, but you're kind of not helping out Kyler a lot. Kyler needs someone to throw to, right? So that's kind of the debate there, I would say. Bowers to the Broncos. So, okay, again, no Bo Nix here. So, that's something that I've seen people talk about, but not here. They feel like that's too early. And hey, Brock Bowers is still on the board. I'd have no issue taking him there. Number 13, okay, Michael Penix Jr. So I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one who thinks that Michael Penix Jr. is worth a top 15 pick in this draft class because Jeremiah says he thinks it could happen. I really wouldn't hate this. I think Michael Penix is a really good quarterback. If he falls to you, I don't think you should mortgage the future for him because there are concerns. There just are. But, I think that if he falls to you at 13, why not take a chance? If it doesn't work out, okay, you'll have a good draft pick next year. I like Gardner Minshew. I just don't think Gardner Minshew is a future answer, personally. Okay, so next couple we have, some we've seen. So Olu Fashanu for the Saints, that would make a lot of sense. I think get them a left tackle. Quinyon Mitchell would be, something I've seen mocked to the Colts a lot. I think I've even done it myself. Definitely makes some sense. Choi Fatanu. So, Seahawks, a lot of people have Seahawks going with offensive linemen here, which I do think is, makes sense. Usually there's kind of a run on offensive linemen around here, so I almost wonder if there'd be a trade. Does a team trade with the Raiders, for example, if they don't want Penix at 13 and try to get the best tackle? Maybe Terron Arnold to the Jaguars, sure. Again, another tackle, J.C. Latham to the Cincinnati Bengals. Le'Veon Latu at 19 to the Rams. I've seen this mocked a few times, and every time I'm just like, man, 19 feels really like that feels like really good value for Le'Veon Latu. I think Le'Veon Latu is a really good player, and getting him that late in the draft feels like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like someone would want to trade up with, like, the Raiders or something, give up a little bit of extra assets just to get a good edge rusher, but we'll see. Number 20 on the list, I guess 20 and 21, more offensive linemen here. Tyler Guyton, which, like, I don't know. If I'm the Steelers and Graham Barton's still on the board, Jackson Powers Johnson is still on the board, I'm not going Tyler Guyton. I'm just not. I'm getting one of those good interior guys. But some people do feel like you should always draft a tackle over the guard or the center. I'm not one of those people, but there are people who feel that way. Graham Barton going to the Dolphins, sure, makes sense. They could use a lot of offensive line help, so it would be a step in the right direction. Is that the biggest need? I don't know, but getting a good center would certainly help, or a good interior guy who I think would probably be at his best at center would certainly help. Eagles going with the best corner available, Nate Wiggins, makes sense to me. The Cardinals, okay, well, this would work. Now, this is a big risk for the Cardinals. They still get their receiver at 23. The question, though, is, like, you don't know if the Steelers are going to take Tyler Guyton over Brian Thomas Jr. Like, you're kind of banking on that. And maybe getting a guy in, if you don't get him then, you can at least get a guy in round 2. Maybe that works. But, again, you don't know who will be there in round 2 because a lot of teams are going to try and get all those receivers in round 2, and maybe it'll be a reach at that point. Also, they could use more than one receiver. Maybe you would double down. But, if they pulled this off, this would be a good move by them. Just can they pull it off? It's a bit of a risk, but interesting. I don't think Cardinals fans would be as thrilled, but I think they would feel better once the Brian Thomas pick came in, at least. A couple more. Jackson Powers Johnson to the Cowboys. I think they'd feel very good about that. Armarius Mims to the Packers. I think they would feel very good about that. Darius Robinson, not my favorite edge rusher personally, but they do need an edge rusher, so would be interesting to see how it works there. They could use just defensive linemen in general. Okay, Byron Murphy. I mean, I don't know. Byron Murphy falling to 27 would feel really good if you're a Cardinals fan. So the Cardinals kind of end up with a really good draft after it's all said and done, which is part of why you trade down, right? Get the extra picks. You can make it work. So if the Cardinals pulled this off, it would certainly be a great draft for them. Zerhan Newton to the Bills. That's interesting. I haven't really seen that mocked, but that totally makes sense to me. I'd be a huge fan of that. In the Lions, Kool-Aid McKinstry, I've talked about on this channel, huge fan of his game. I think he's should be viewed a lot higher than he is. So, 29 to the Lions, I would love that pick for them. Ravens, I don't know if the Ravens really desperately need corners the way people make it out to be, just because, the Ravens have such a history of drafting guys in rounds 4 and turning them into stars. I don't know if they have to use a premium pick on a guy unless they really love him. The Ravens are just going to draft best player available, I think. I could be wrong, but maybe they feel DeJean's that guy because a lot of people do really like him. He's a good player, so maybe that's it. Niners going Chop Robinson. That's interesting. I haven't seen that too much, but yeah, why not get a good edge rusher? They clearly need that. They need to replace Chase Young, who I thought was all right last year. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. And then Adonai Mitchell. Interesting. So no Ladd McConkey for the Chiefs, but they still do get a good wide receiver here. So yeah, okay, fun mock draft. That was an interesting experiment to go through. Give my reaction to what these picks were. If you want to kind of hear more of the discussion, I believe that Daniel Jeremiah on the YouTube channel on YouTube. If you search Daniel Jeremiah mock draft, it'll come up. You can hear more of his. He can elaborate more, or just read the article I posted here. On NFL.com, or I talked about here on NFL.com. So hear more of his thoughts. But yeah, those are my thoughts on his mock draft. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.